Okay, we are ready to get started here. Hello and welcome to today's session in the msdynamicsworld.com Fall 2014 CRM webcast series. I'm Jason Gumpert, and joining me today are Rick McCutcheon and Lon Ornstein for a session on powering up your sales team with Dynamics CRM. Rick and Lon are returning speakers for us, and we're really glad to have them back. As we get started, I do want to add that we invite you to add your feedback and ask questions today during the presentation. Please use the Q&A block that you'll see on the right side of the panel to ask your questions, and Rick and Lon will leave time at the end to answer them. I also want to note there's been a little bit of a change to the webcasting interface here. If you look in the upper right corner of the main presentation window, you'll notice a little magnifying glass with a plus sign in it. You can adjust those settings as we go through the presentation, especially during the live demo portion, to try to get the ideal resolution for your screen, so just be aware of that setting. So without further delay, why don't we get things started? I'm going to hand control off to Rick McCutcheon to get things started.
Thank you, Jason. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, and control should be arriving now.
All right, fantastic. So let's get going with our presentation today. What we're going to do is talk about how to power up your sales team with Microsoft's Dynamics CRM, but we're going to take on a perspective of more about understanding process and building out process. So I'm going to handle the process part of this conversation, and then I'm going to turn it over to Lon Ornstein, and he's going to handle the actual demo of Dynamics CRM. So I'll let Lon introduce himself, but we're both longtime veterans of the CRM wars, so we've been around quite a while, and we've been involved with the Dynamics CRM product since the inception of the product back in early 2002, I believe it was. So I always start my presentations out with what I call the promise of CRM. So when we look at CRM, we go to a presentation, we sit in a webinar like this, you know, we get promised a lot of things, and a lot of that is productivity, especially when we talk about Salesforce automation. So I've got this promise of CRM that I go through. So CRM is a business philosophy. It lets you know your customers, prospects, and partners better, share information more thoroughly, and interact more completely. This is achieved by creating a system that integrates people, process, and CRM technology. So when I get involved with a project, you know, I look at how people use the technology, both from a customer perspective, a prospect perspective, a partner perspective, and your own sales team's perspective. What processes all of these people use to sort of build their relationships and communicate with each other. And then we take CRM and related technologies and say, okay, how do we make this run? How do we make this work? And that's what we're going to talk about today, is really the people, process, and the technology coming together to create a system that's going to help you better manage your customers, better manage your prospects, and better manage your customer relationships. And then my mantra at the bottom there is CRM is forever. I do a lot of work with the user group community, and I do panels on CRM user adoption. And the companies that do well with CRM have a long-term commitment to it, and it becomes part of their sort of business mechanism that, you know, they have a customer relationship system that everybody who's customer-facing uses, and they're always engaging with it and making it a better application. So, you know, the promise of sales success, we're going to really focus on Salesforce automation here, but, you know, you can sit through a lot of webinars and seminars and talk to a lot of consultants and advisors, and, you know, sales success seems very, very complicated today. So we're going to try to break it down into some pieces that are manageable and pieces that will relate back to your business and try to simplify things. When I'm in the Salesforce automation / CRM world, I'm looking at 4 areas of how I'm going to use the technology, really to manage my leads and prospects, my quality, quantity, source, cost, and close rate. How can technology help me understand this better? Then from a customer perspective, or actually a partner perspective, you know, retention, upselling, referrals, relationship. How do I use technology to enhance these? Activity management around calls, meetings, and tasks. And then monitoring the competition. What's going on in my ecosystem with my competitors? What accounts are they in? What accounts are they trying to get in? What accounts did we take them out of? So there's a lot of information we can start to gather that is great for a sales organization and can make you run smarter, run better, and be much more effective and efficient. So sales is quite easy. Ask anybody not in sales, they'll tell you that. It's really about getting those leads developed, qualified, making them prospects, getting them to be customers, and getting them to purchase something else off of you, and building long-term relationships. So that's always the challenge of every organization, every world-class organization, every SMB. How do we build a system that does this? And what's going on today is very, very interesting. So if you've sat through any sessions, especially the stuff around Challenger Sale, they talk about how the buying process is changing. So what we're seeing today is the actual buying process of a customer over the last 10, 15 years has almost completely changed. Before the web presence, what it is today, and social presence, what it is today, we controlled the buying process. If somebody came to us looking for a product, we could give them whatever price we want, whatever information we want, whatever model we wanted to show them, we could show it to them. But now, in every different vertical and every different industry, we're seeing the buyer be in more control of the buying process, you could say. So according to Challenger Sale, a customer is 57% through their due diligence or their research on your products and services and your competition's products and services before they actually engage with you, which is really, really scary when you think about a salesperson out there. They're supposed to be making those cold calls, doing those follow-ups. Well, this whole world of social selling is happening and social buying is happening around them. So we have to create systems with technology to be able to engage with these people as early as we can in their due diligence cycle, in their research cycle, and then stay with them through that research cycle until they're ready to start their buying process. So this is kind of changing the way we sell, and it makes us really the need for technology even greater. So when we start to look at what I call my full contact selling model, CRM, we start to look at exactly what's going on in that model. So what here is happening is we have marketing over at one side, feeds leads into the system. We take it through a repeatable sales process all the way down to close, and then we take it back through. So it's a process we want to build in technology, and a process that allows us to be able to go in and say, okay, how are we doing in marketing? How are we doing in leads? How are we doing in our lead qualification process? How are we doing in our opportunity funnel? So we need information to be able to manage and monitor this complete selling process. So let me go into more detail on this. From a lead perspective, in the good old days of selling, a lead really came from a referral, or we're going out and reaching out to somebody with what we used to call a cold call, all that type of stuff. And it was really the old sales prospecting things that used to work for us, right? So back here on the prospecting side, this is what we used to do. But now selling and buying has become more sophisticated. So, we're seeing more event management stuff, we're seeing more website use, we're seeing more social CRM, and we're seeing companies rely more and more on these reseller channels. So as we start to gather this information, we really need to know what's working for us. Now, there's a whole different seminar series that we can talk about, what's going on around social CRM, what's going around social buying, and what's happening on the internet and conversion rates and all that type of thing. What we're going to worry about today is really understanding we've got a lead, where did the lead come from, and how are we going to better manage and monitor that in our sales process. So typically, sales processes look different for different types of things we're selling. We have an SMB product, we may have a mid-level product, we may have an enterprise product, or we may sell through a sales channel. So the processes are going to be a little bit different, or actually could be quite a bit different. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you a bit of a standardized process. And when Lon shows you the Dynamics CRM, he's going to show you 2013. So it's got a very powerful process engine where we can start to set up different types of processes in it, depending on what I'm selling, who I'm selling it to, and whether I'm selling that direct or with a channel. For now, we'll come through here as a direct sale. So it comes into a lead, and then it moves over to to the salesperson. The salesperson will research that. We use tools like LinkedIn today or Inside View. We want to find out about the company we're selling to. We want to find out about the person we're selling to. So typically a sales rep can go and do a lot of research. Then they get into a qualification process where they start to, talk to the person. And when we start to dig down on these processes, this could be a face-to-face call, could be a meeting, could be, we're on a WebEx today. There's a lot of things that are involved in that qualification process. Do we have the economic buyer? Do we have the business buyer? So depending on what your company follows as a philosophy, that qualification process could be simple or it could be a much deeper thing we get into. In CRM, we can start to manage that process right down to the detail and in the qualifications, and we're going to show you that. And within the process, things start to happen like, how do we link into that person? And I've got a whole different webinar on what's the LinkedIn process when you're running through sales. So how do I link in and how do I start to build what we call a social relationship? But on the CRM front, we really lead to an opportunity. And we create that opportunity to tell whether we have a current project or a future project. So if we have a current project, we follow this stream here. And if we have a future project, we follow the stream below. And what this stream does, this becomes very, very important. We want to be able to take an opportunity, and if it's not quite ready to follow up on, but they're a good prospect, we need to build keep warm strategies. And in CRM, keep warm strategies are strategies around using marketing lists, using social CRM to keep in touch, or setting up ongoing campaigns to keep in touch with that person until they've entered their buying process. So on the current project across the top, we go through things like an interview process, we'll have an overview presentation, we'll do needs analysis, we'll build a solution, get into a verbal agreement, create a proposal, take that to a solutions presentation, and close. And during close, we're going to have overcoming objections, negotiate, and beat the competition. So we're building this process all the time, and in CRM, we want to mark off this process. So recently at a conference, I talked to a group of people on how to discuss CRM with your sales teams so they better understand its use and they better understand what's in it for them. Well, when you build a repeatable sales process that has good data in it, there's a lot of value for the sales team because it keeps them organized, it keeps them on track, but most of all, the sales management team now has real-time information that they can use to understand what's going on in the sales process and to better forecast with reliability, what's coming out in the future. So from here, we go to a close, and we get to yes, and then we go to account management. So this is, almost a forgotten art in some CRM setups I've seen, but once we make them a customer, how do we classify them a customer? In my diagram here, I said, okay, we have AAA customers are very best, and we might have A, B, and C type customers in the system. So within the account profile, we want to start to build out a profile of what this customer owns of ours, what have they purchased from us, what do they potentially need to purchase from us, who are the key contacts. So we really want to have an account management strategy to say, well, if they're a AAA account, we need to have the VP of Sales, VP of Marketing, CIO, CFO, CEO, all in the database. And we also have to have a strategy for building relationships with these people. So that really leads to what's the account management process. And within CRM, we're not going to cover it today, but there's a whole case and customer service management component, which is really being enhanced by some of the new applications such as Parature that Dynamics CRM is bringing on board. They recently purchased them, and that's going to be part of the customer service offerings going forward. And then social, how do we integrate with them socially, right? Through things like LinkedIn, maybe Facebook, and different social websites that we're tied into them. So we've got to come up with a social strategy and build that into the CRM as well. And again, this is all related to campaigns. So what we want to do is build this repeatable sales process and keep it going in the long term, right? We want to be able to move things through, move them over and over again, and be able to measure exactly what's going on with our sales team. So I'm going to turn it over now to Lon Ornstein, and he's going to actually take you into Dynamics CRM and show you how to build a repeatable process. Lon, let me make you the presenter.
Thanks, Rick. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hang on 2 seconds. And let me know when you can see my screen.
We are seeing it.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. As Rick said, Rick and I go back a long time in the CRM world. I go back to actually being a beta user of ACT software in 1986. They released it in '87. And so contact management, which is what ACT sort of pioneered, morphed into Salesforce automation, which is then morphed into CRM. And so what I'm going to do today is talk to you about what CRM looks like. So those of you that aren't familiar with CRM, this will give you a good overview of what Microsoft CRM is about and how it looks and acts and works. And this will be sort of a high-level overview. I'm not going to drill in real deeply into this. If you do know Microsoft CRM and you've seen it before, this might be a good time for a bio break or get a cup of coffee and then come back. So what I started was Microsoft CRM has dashboards that can be put together, and these are not just pretty pictures. You'll see here, this is a part of a product that we're getting ready to release called CRM Skinny. And the idea is that for small businesses, we've skinnied down, as we say in Texas, CRM to make it more simple. And so this is one of the dashboards that we've put together. You can see here, this is my sales pipeline by estimated close date. And so you can see the different levels of opportunities that I have that are going to close. Here's pipeline by sales stage. Here's leads or opportunities by lead source. And if I wanted to take a better look at this, then I can click on this little button right here, and up pops in another window, and this gives me the ability to see the different opportunities. And just by clicking on each of these sections, this chart, I see the different opportunities that are in here. And if I want to open one of those up, I just click on it, and it will pop open. And so these are not just pretty pictures. This is a way to really not only manage what's going on in your pipeline, but you can do this by salesperson. So you could have a bar chart, for example, that says, show me my salespeople's opportunities that are going to close in the next 90 days. And then you can click on each of those bars and you drill into each person's. So as you're having a sales meeting or you're having a one-on-one review, you're able to manage this. In addition, the dashboard is sort of a starting point. So you can see here, these are but now I can go in and I can actually see these opportunities in here. And again, I could right click on this and say open in a new window, and I could pop that open. But this gives me a way to sort and search through here. Down below, this is what do I need to do today? These are my activities. So my activities could be tasks or phone calls that I need to make, and these are the things that I need to move these opportunities forward. So as Rick said earlier, Dynamics CRM is comprised of 3 main modules. There's a sales module, a customer service module. That's where case management, knowledge base, and service activities. So if you were a heating and air conditioning repair or a service company, you could schedule people, you could set up that Bob and truck number 4 needs to be at Mrs. Jones' house at 2 o'clock on Thursday. That would flow through to Bob's smartphone, and he would see that appointment on his smartphone. And then the third part is marketing. There's an entire marketing piece. But what we've done is to skinny this down. You can see here that we've done dashboards, accounts, contacts, activities, leads, opportunities, marketing lists, and reports. The customer center is where people go for help. And so this is all that people see after they apply our skinny. And the idea is that this is a much more manageable piece of CRM. So when I click on leads, this takes me to a list of leads. You can see here my open leads, and these are all different views of these leads. I'm going to see leads open last week, or leads that are older than 6 months. I can also create my own personal views. Since CRM is a centrally administered system, then all of these are called system views, and this is done, or these are done by the system administrator. When it talks about my leads, these are the leads that I own. So let's say I go into Suzanne here, and this is a lead. I'm the owner of this lead up here. Status is new. This is a hot lead. We got her at a trade show. And if you look down here, I'm going to sort of go through this a little bit and then come back up to this part in here. But this is basic name, rank, and serial number. So in this case, this became a lead because she mailed an interest card back. And this is linked to Susanna, the contact, phone, email, etc. Company information here. And so marketing information over here. She was a lead source from a trade show. Which campaign? This is, again, from the marketing module, so we can see how we got this person. App to her office. And then down here, different details in different fields that you can then customize. All of them customizable. You can see over here that we've added some grids so that we can say, well, show me all the activity history. This is all sample data, so there's not a lot in here, but if I looked at activity history, I could see tasks and appointments, records of phone calls that we've had with this person, and email. So Microsoft Dynamics CRM can plug into Outlook and track emails, or you can connect CRM server directly to your Exchange server, and you can start tracking emails, and it would automatically, some email that came in from or was sent to Susanna's email address would get tracked into history. Up here, this is what's called the sales process bar, and as you saw in Rick's presentation, this is Rick's full contact selling methodology, where we start with qualify, overview presentation, needs analysis. You'll notice as I hover over each of these stages, it says up above, entity is opportunity, the stage is overview presentation, and the status at this point is locked. The idea here is that you can structure these sales processes so that your people you can make these required. Your people have to go from stage to stage. And in each of these stages, you can make these required fields or optional fields so that they have to enter this as they go. You can also do this from entity to entity. So in other words, right here, when I hover over qualify, the entity says lead. But when I click here on overview, it goes to the opportunity. And when I do this, if there was an opportunity created for Susanna, it would move me to that opportunity record, and now I would be looking at the opportunity. So staying in one screen and being able to move back and forth to really handle what I need to do for Susanna is a pretty cool feature in CRM. People understand that because now I'm working with this person. Leads get converted into opportunities and or contacts and accounts. So if I can look at this from an standpoint, different companies that I'm working with, and let's say I go into Litware, and when I open up Litware, it tells me here's the account view, This is the company, relationship type, and then up here, who are my contacts? So in this case, I only have Susanna, but I have a grid here where if I had 10 different people at Litware, then these would show up in the contacts. Susanna's the primary contact, and CRM surfaces or pulls in Susanna's basic contact information right here in this area up top. And again, as you scroll down, here are activities. If we had data in here, you would see activities for all the contacts that that relate to this. This area over here is called connections, and this is a way where you sort of deal with the R in CRM. These are the relationships that you have between different people, and you can set up these relationships between different contacts or different accounts or different opportunities. So a good example of this is we have a client that manufactures air conditioning systems for big buildings. So let's say there's a 300-room Marriott that they're getting ready to build. The people that are involved in this we want to track, but sometimes, let's say the XYZ contractors, one time in one Marriott they're the mechanical contractor, but in another Hilton that's being built, they're the general contractor. And so what you do is you create a series of roles for these connections, and you can then assign those roles to different accounts or contacts so that in any particular deal or opportunity or project, you can see who's connected to that. And those can be fluid. And I think that it's that ability to track fluid relationships that gives Microsoft CRM some great advantages. Again, same thing over here. There's a map. You can see here are recent opportunities that we're tracking for Litware and Susanna. And if I open this is the same one we were looking at a minute ago. Different company information, marketing information, etc. Documents, if this was linked to SharePoint, you can use SharePoint and SharePoint Online to store documents. So if I wanted to keep track of contracts or pictures or logos or specs or whatever it is that I need to track, other documents that I need to track for this company, this account called Litware, I can store those in SharePoint Online. And everybody that has access to that, because this is all secured, everyone that has access to that can see these documents. They're all in the cloud, they're all available, and they're all secure. So CRM interfaces to SharePoint and Office 365 real nicely in that way. Let me see what else I was going to look at. Marketing lists, there's a whole marketing component. I won't get into a lot of that, but marketing lists are a way that you can segregate different groups of people. Find all the people in Texas who are in a particular industry and let's put them on a marketing list. Or I'm going to use a marketing list for all the people that whose leads we got at a trade show last month. And then you can use that with Microsoft Dynamics marketing, the new marketing piece function that Microsoft bought, or any of the other programs like Click Dimensions or Sales Fusion or some of the third-party marketing programs that that work well with CRM. So, from an overview standpoint, I think that's a good place to turn it back over to Rick and let him continue. I think you've got a pretty good sense of what Microsoft CRM is all about. And as a Microsoft partner, one of the fun things that I get to do is people will start to ask me a question and say, well, can CRM do this? Yes. Well, could CRM do? Yes. And then it's a full-blown, fully functional, highly customizable system that allows partners like us to integrate with other systems, integrate with ERP. We have, my company, Living Business Online, has an app that interfaces CRM Online to QuickBooks. There are other similar kinds of apps, like the marketing apps that do that. So thank you much. Rick, I'll give it back to you, and if you need it back to me, let me know.
So Lon, can you show them where we track competitors against an opportunity?
Sure. Let's go to opportunities. I'm not sure if we have a grid. Let's see if we, so you can see here in the opportunity, we've got different strategy that we've put together here. I'm not sure if we have competitor on here. We have product line items. Didn't put it on this form, Rick. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Well, that's good. So do you want to just quickly jump out and show people how they can customize a form?
Sure. So if we go in here, let's go to form.
Now, this isn't something you give your sales team to use, but as an administrator, there's a lot of fields in CRM that aren't published right away that you can publish out.
Right. So this is the form. So as you can see, this is up in the header, the close date, the revenue, the status, the owner. That's what shows up here. Let's go over here and let's go in here and insert section and do a subgrid. Competitors, and let's load up search and set and close, and we get an error. Cool. Dependency. A dependency calculation. Wow.
Okay, so we'll quickly jump out of this. So we can add the competitor to the opportunity. Lon, can you also show from a marketing list perspective how people can add different contacts to marketing lists and how you can manage your marketing lists?
Sure. So let's go over here, marketing lists.
And this is all part of that keep warm strategy, right? So, you know, I've got one company I'm working with right now that sells training courses, technology training courses. So they get people who are end user customers coming in, and somebody maybe who's looking for some Cisco training will sign up for a course. But they'll also get somebody who's in charge of all the training, all the technical training for a large organization. So they'll send hundreds of people through my customer. So they want to add that person to a different list because the person who wants the Cisco training is going to be interested in everything else they have to offer around Cisco. Whereas the administrator of all the training will be interested in many different types of courses and many different types of programs. So it's important as part of your keep warm strategy is to build these marketing lists. And then, you know, it's not up to the sales team all the time to do that contact on an ongoing basis. If somebody's there and they're part of the Cisco training and there's a new product offering that comes out that needs new upgraded training, they can be added to a list. So Lon, I'll just send it back over to you.
Okay, thanks. So do we want these to be leads or should they be contacts? So when you're building a marketing list, you choose what kind of contact that you want to stay in contact with. Should we do these as leads?
Either or, leads or contacts are good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then let's save this. So what I said here was this is a dynamic list. As compared to a static list is let's say you're going to have a spring golf tournament. You're going to invite 50 guys to the golf tournament. You can go in one by one and put them on a static list. But a dynamic list is a way that you can set up a formula. And so here we're going to say lead, and maybe we were to say something like we want them in a particular state. So let's do state equals Texas, and maybe lead source equals, and then choose from, we want advertisement or partner or trade show. Okay, and so this is the criteria that we use to create this list, and then anytime anybody gets added to the CRM that meets this, they would be put on this list. In this case, there weren't any found because there probably aren't any in Texas. So let's delete this one just so we can see. Yeah, there we go. So these are people that meet that criteria. Those are now on this list. And then from here, as Rick said, we could set up a workflow to send emails, drip emails to these people, or we could assign tasks and give those to salespeople and use the marketing list as the source for that.
So if anybody has any questions for Lon about Dynamics CRM and setting it up for Salesforce automation for process, please, you can type any questions you have in the window. Or Jason, are we going to open the lines at all?
We're not going to open the lines. We will certainly invite questions through, as you said, Rick, the Q&A block on the right, or even the chat. And we actually do have one question in there already asking does CRM integrate with Great Plains out of the box, or does it require something else?
So the answer to that is there is a free connector that Microsoft provides that will connect Great Plains and CRM. So there's an asterisk in there. The asterisk is, yes, it works out of the box, but the asterisk is that you're going to want to customize it because no two companies' needs are the same, and the kind of data they want to exchange and integrate on an ongoing basis, all of that needs to be customized. It's not rocket science, but the plumbing, the actual interface, yes, that's free and it's from Microsoft.
All right. We have another question here about customizing fields.
Sure.
If I understand the question correctly, when customizing, some fields are compulsory, and can this be changed?
Yes. The answer is whenever you create a new entity, so for example, like out of the box, a contact, it has to have a last name. That can't be changed. But you can then say, I want lead source to be required, and the record can't be saved unless the user puts in a lead source, chooses that. You also have the option to put a business recommended, which means that there'll be a little plus sign. Instead of these red asterisks over here, this means that it's required. But you can also use a blue plus sign, and that says, we really, really want you to fill this out. But they could not fill it out and still save the record. If they don't have the red asterisks filled in, they can't save the record.
All right. A couple other questions that have come in here. How can one adjust or change the default ribbons?
It's part of what's called the process. There's a business process in here. So let's go settings, and from settings to processes. Where are processes? Yep, there we go. Processes. And so here is the full contact selling process. This is the one that showed the bar across there. And so you can see here, this is a stage. The lead is stage, and then here is the opportunity stage. And so for each of these stages, you have different steps. And you can see in here, these are the different steps. And if I wanted to add another step, then I can click on this and say I want to add a new stage. And so, for example, this one starts with a lead and then goes to an opportunity. We could build this out a little further and say, the next stage that I want is an order or a quote, because out of the box, opportunities can, whatever you put into an opportunity, you can then say, I want to generate a quote. And CRM will take all the details in the opportunity, and especially the products that you choose. Like if you have, let's say you're selling widgets and you've got 300 blue widgets and 200 green widgets and 100 red widgets as line items in that opportunity. Now I want to generate a quote. Then you can use a Word template. It'll generate the quote, and you can send that out. But you could make that as part of this full contact selling, where I go from a lead to an opportunity to a quote to even an order over here. And so this is where you customize that business process bar that I showed you earlier.
All right. Just looking here at the question queue. I think that is it for now, but please do keep the questions coming.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah, I'm here until the end.
So, and remember, this can all be pushed out into any mobile device, any phone, either using the Microsoft mobile products or third-party mobile products. So we're seeing a big change right now from, being tied to a PC for a salesperson to we're seeing a lot more salespeople out there with tablets on a daily basis and possibly a PC back at the hotel or back at the office. Okay, if there's no more questions, Jason, we may be able to wrap it up.
All right, let's see here. So there was actually one more question on the question of ribbon changes versus process changes. So, Lon, you were just showing some process.
Yes.
With regard to the ribbon, I know you showed a look at a stripped-down version earlier. Can you talk about that some more, or other options for customizing that?
Yeah. So this is what's called the ribbon, and so there are some tools available for free, actually. In CodePlex. So www.codeplex.com. There is one called the XRM Toolbox. And this is a group of tools that have been put together by the community, the CRM community, and are supported as open source. And it gives you a way that you can go in and you can modify the ribbon bar. There's another one. There's actually two. There are two. One does the ribbon bar, and the other one does what's called the sitemap. And so between the two of those, you can go in and you can customize what appears here and how they appear. So, for example, as I said earlier, we've skinnied this down so that you have fewer choices. If we go into, let's go into contacts, and if I opened up a contact, there's also a ribbon bar in here. Oops. There. And we've gotten rid of some of this. So if I were to show you the full CRM ribbon, you would see activities and audit history and opportunities and cases. You would also see orders, invoices, quotes, competitors. There are probably 20 of them that are in there. And what we have done is to go in and hide all of that on the premise that we want to simplify this, and we focused it on sales. But the way you customize it is one of these free tools in CodePlex. Did that answer the question?
I believe it did, yeah. We've had a couple other questions come in. Just as a note, you mentioned XRM Toolbox, and if you look in the attendee, if you look in the chat area, you'll see a link. We do have actually a session coming up in November, I believe, just all about the XRM Toolbox itself, so certainly worth checking out.
It's a great tool.
Yeah, it really has got a lot of interest in steady development, it seems like, over the last couple of years. Question on emails. The emails generated out of CRM, in my experience, are very vanilla. Are there any way to make them look nicer?
Well, they are HTML, and if you're a decent average HTMLer, you can spiff them up by creating templates and embedding graphics, etc. That said, yes, they're not the best best implementation of HTML templates, but you can improve them as opposed to the out of the box.
All right. And this person, I think you probably understood this, but the person was thinking specifically of marketing and nurture emails. Let's see. Do we have another question here? So, can part of our company be online with CRM and Exchange, and part of our company that doesn't need it be online? I'm sorry, that doesn't need to be online be in an on-premises Exchange box?
If I understand the question, can they have CRM Online hosted by Microsoft and have it connect to Exchange on-premise that they host internally? Is that?
Well,
and if that's what.
Yeah, I think it actually was asking, can part of the company be online with CRM and Exchange, and part of the company be on-premises with Exchange?
A qualified yes. So the first answer is CRM needs to be, you need to choose. Are you on CRM Online, or are you going to host CRM on-premise? From that standpoint, the answer is you've got to have one or the other. From the Exchange side of it, we're an Office 365 partner, and I'm pretty sure, 90% plus, that this is part of the hybrid scenario where you can use what's called ADFS, Active Directory Federation Services. So you can have Exchange on-prem along with a domain controller that controls your user logins, and that syncs to Exchange in the cloud.
All right.
I think so is the answer to that. But I know that CRM got to choose.
And the person who asked the question said, thanks. I hope that means that you did answer their question, but we obviously would welcome follow-ups. One last question here right now on campaigns. This person says that she has had trouble with campaigns in the past, tracking the activities and the responses. Do you have any tips?
Well, my best tip is to look at click dimensions. Because the functionality out of the box in CRM is really designed, it's not a fully fleshed out marketing system. So for example, you can send emails out of CRM, but if you're going to do it in any kind of volume, we recommend that you go to a third party like a Click Dimensions or ExactTarget or Sales Fusion or one.
Or SilverPop or Sales Fusion, yes. Or the new Microsoft Dynamics Marketing. They all have that type of functionality.
Right. And from there, that's where you can get the functionality of did they open it, did they click, how many times did they click, all of that kind of response management, let's call it, is better done in those programs than in CRM out of the box. So I don't mean to dodge the question, but that's not CRM's out of the box's strength.
And I think that's part of why they're taking Dynamics Marketing and plugging it into. This is another product they purchased recently, and they're going to plug it into CRM to take care of that sort of marketing automation component.
Right.
All right, well, that is the end of our question queue, so we could probably start wrapping up here. I want to remind folks on the phone that you'll see a little survey as we depart. We'd really appreciate your feedback on today's session, what you'd like to see in the future. Would you like to see a deeper dive? Would you like to see more advanced topics? So on and so forth. Our presenters really appreciate that kind of feedback.
So, Lon, can you make me the presenter again?
Yep, one sec. Participants, Rick, make presenter. There you go.
So thank you very much for joining us today. Here's Lon's contact information. You can find him at Living Business Online. He stands out there in LinkedIn, so it's Lon at Living Business. If you want help with your Salesforce automation processes, that's what I do. Rick McCutcheon at Full Contact Selling. And just want to end with a little phrase here. When selling becomes a process, you take care of most of your business problems. So thanks for joining us today. I'll send it back over to Jason. And Jason, you can have the closing words.
All right. Well, that concludes today's session. Guys, thanks so much for presenting to us. And thank you to everyone in the audience for being here.
Thanks
Have
for
a great
attending.
day. And, yeah, thanks for attending. Bye-bye.